Coach, obviously we've seen Chris Paul do that before in his career, but again, fourth quarter and they were obviously doing things with Booker and Kevin. How big was it for Chris to
Well,
like that?
I think the mental fortitude that it takes to come back from the game he had the other day, and all three of those guys are trying to figure out, like, you go, I go, that kind of thing. And I thought all three were in go mode tonight, so or today. But to see Chris, knocking down shots like that, and then the one where he threw up, he thought, I don't know if he knew it hit the rim. But I'm just grateful for his mental stamina in those types of, or these types of environments where he's missing shots one game and he comes back the next game and, he just does what Chris does.
Another thing I had.
You mentioned the mental stamina. How much
Yeah.
does their experience come into play here where,
Yeah.
they've been in these situations time and time again, knowing when to
Yeah.
almost let the game come to them?
Well, I think it's something that I'm never concerned about. I think case in point was the timeout in the third when they came out and made a big run. I call timeout, and typically you come over there and you have to list like 3 or 4 things that we need to do. I don't have to do that with these guys. They understand before I get there, and it's all about just resetting the compass, if you will, and allowing those guys to go out there and function in a more productive way, especially when another team is making a run. So I'm sure their experience is a part of that.
Coach, how much do you feel like maybe fatigue led to Devin and Kevin not having the shot going tonight?
Maybe, but I think I got Book a good rest in the first half, and then I was talking to Kev, and he's like, Coach, I'm good. And I think he said that, 1, he was, and 2, he wasn't running around like we typically play. They lean on him a lot, which can, take some from your legs, but he said, Coach, I'm good. Trust me. And I was like, okay. So I just let him roll. And when I did want to take him out, I think we were up like 9 or 10, and I felt like if we could get it higher than that, I'd take him out. But then they made a run and got it to like 6 or 5. So I was like, well, there goes that idea.
Coach, you've talked a lot about how in the playoffs sometimes it's just about getting a bucket and being able to stop your
Yeah.
guy from getting one.
Yeah.
How much of that, when you see Kevin and Devin hitting shots like they did in the third,
Yeah.
how do you kind of balance that with still wanting to get some movement and that type of thing?
Well, I'm not quite sure anybody is playing movement basketball right now in the playoffs because possessions are so valuable and teams are dialed into your plays. If you waste too much time, you're going to be in a tough situation late in the clock, and you don't have time to get to your options. And so, we're just trying to get those guys the ball in space and allow for them to play. And the way this team plays defense, they're one of the best at physically getting into you and disrupting your plays. And so you got to have, some ISO ball, if you will, but you got to have the spacing around it, I believe, to allow for those guys to do what they do. And when they weren't scoring, I thought in the fourth quarter they just got off of it and guys were knocking down shots on the backside.
Monty, I know we keep asking you about minutes played, and you talk to your players. I mean, on some level, players are always going to say, I'm good, right? Are you worried just about the long haul in terms of
Yeah.
44 minutes or
I
40
think
minutes? Or
looking at the way the schedule was set up, playing every other day is not conducive to it. But now we have, part of why I did it today was we have a couple days to recover. But when you're playing every other day in the playoffs, I'm like, well, there goes load management. But I think it's something that we are concerned about as it piles up, yeah. But hopefully we can take advantage of these days. And I will say this, when I talk to our people and they look at how our guys are running around, it's not like the regular season. We're not playing at that same pace. And so the load can be a bit different with the minutes that the guys have played.
just a quick follow-up. When you say you talk to your people, Does that mean, you mean like studying like how much they're actually running on the court and
Yeah.
pace and stuff like that? Like what goes into that?
You're asking me? I don't know. I just listen.
You mean like your sports science people?
Yeah,
that's what I was-
yeah. So they measure all the stuff guys are doing, how they run, how much they're running. And so I just listen to those guys. But we talk a lot. Yesterday we had an off day. Those guys didn't do anything. They get their treatment in, and they come in feeling a lot better. But I will say this: I believe our guys have trained for these types of moments. But tonight I thought, we got booked down about 3 minutes. Kev was out there a little bit longer, but when I watched him, he wasn't streaking all over the place, So from that standpoint, I never saw him labor. And so we just got to keep watching it.
Monty, you mentioned the other day about Kevin getting frustrated with the, over here, Monty, sorry.
I hear you.
Okay, sorry. You mentioned the other day Kevin being frustrated. How do you like the way he's channeled that to continue to get to the free throw line through it?
Yeah, I mean, I think Ty, as I've said before, he's one of the best at changing defenses, putting big, strong guys on your scores to, frustrate you. And they push it to the legal limit. And I thought Kev just stayed with it tonight. He fought for the ball a bit more than last game, I thought. And I think our guys did a much better job of finding him when he was open so he could attack. But I do still feel like it's a work in progress. We just got to, figure out how teams are guarding him. And then when he does pop free, we got to be able to get him the ball in the shot pocket or throw it to him where he can activate and take off.
Hey, Mike, to your right, what do you make of Russ's relentless approach in this series, getting downhill, and how hard is it to keep him out of the paint?
Really hard. I think the thing that's hard is that he can do it without losing control. He's got great body control. The thing that's different with Russ is he can do it with both hands. Most times you know which way a guy is going and you can play him on that hand. Russ can finish with both hands, and so it makes it even tougher. And, he's not a normal-sized point guard. I mean, Russ is a big dude, and he likes contact. So it has been a task for us, but I thought Book did a really good job down the stretch, and then there were a couple times where we had, like, late switches, and the big stepped up, and then we were able to take their big off the glass or force him to throw it out of bounds. But he's a tough cover. That's why I've always kind of laughed at all the criticism he's gotten. It's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. I've never seen an MVP get the kind of criticism that he's received. And you're seeing, MVP-type play these last few games.
Monty, after Chris struggled in on Thursday, shooting 5 of 18, does his mood change at all? Does his demeanor change? Does he stew at all, or is it just the same old Chris?
Chris and I talked for a while yesterday, and we talked about his kids, my family. He was schooling me on EYBL and club stuff, and basketball came up, but it was probably 20% of the conversation, and I didn't see any of that. I know how badly he wants to play well, and so that's never a concern of mine. But when I talked to him yesterday, we barely even talked about basketball.
Coach, you take a crucial timeout at the start of the third quarter.
Yeah.
What do you say to your players in that moment?
I think because of the experience our guys have, I don't have to say a lot. It's almost to take that timeout to stop momentum, maybe, but to allow our guys to reset a bit. With a different team, you may come over there and go over like 3 or 4 things that you need to do. With our guys, they already know. And the timeout is called to just reset. That's it. We just want to reset what we're doing, get back to our standard, and then allow for them to go out there and be productive. And you hope those timeouts allow for them to just settle down a bit.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Was the fight that you guys were able to show, considering the quick turnaround and everything, that pretty much what you would hope to see, I guess?
Say it again?
The fight that you guys showed today, keeping it close again. Is that what you'd hope to see, that kind of fight?
No, I hope to see a win. We're not playing to keep it close. I know y'all might think that, but we playing to win. And we had opportunities. You know, that second quarter, I thought we had 8 turnovers. You know, they kind of got those easy baskets. But our margin for error is slim. So, you know, we just got to do a better job taking care of the basketballs, which we did in the second half, and a better job on the glass. You know, and so, you know, our guys, we competing to win. We're not competing to keep it close. And so, you know, they played well down the stretch. I thought CP, you know, in that fourth quarter really carried them and made some big shots for them. But like I said, I did love how our guys competed and stayed engaged and locked in the whole 48 minutes.
Did you find anything lineup-wise that maybe you'd like to use in Game 5?
No.
See, that third quarter, you got out to a 7-0 start, and then the Suns kind of picked themselves up the mat, and it seemed like their offense just really, they couldn't be stopped from there. Like, where do you feel like the game in that third quarter kind of turned for you guys? You guys couldn't recover from the run they went on.
Yeah, they made some shots. You know, Book, KD. KD got away from us a couple times where he shouldn't have. And then, you know, when he caught the ball, we didn't do a good job, you know, especially in that, like I said, in that third quarter, crowding him, getting into him, you know, speeding him up. And once he's able to play with the ball and, like, get to his spots, I mean, you at his mercy, you know. So some things we can clean up and get better at, you know. And like I said, start off the third quarter really good, high intensity. And like I said, they're star players. They did what they were supposed to do. They made shots, and they created a lot of shots for their teammates as well.
Ty, as hard as you guys have fought these last 2 games and gotten big games from Norm and big games from Russ, what's it going to take to keep the season alive in Game 5?
Big games again. Big games from Norm, big games from Russ, big games for everybody. You know, we need everybody to play well. Like I said, we're scrapping, we're competing, and, you know, but then we got to be smarter. You know, just, you know, fouling the bonus and the penalty, taking care of the basketball, you know, good shot selection. But, you know, overall, I love, like I say, exactly what we're doing. You know, I thought we were really good defensively tonight until, you know, that third quarter they kind of opened things up. They made some tough shots, and that's to be expected. So, same effort we had the last 2 nights, well, the last 4 games. You know, the same effort, same intensity, attack mentality like we've been doing. Like I said, I just thought Russ did a great job of just leading that charge, of just attacking the basket on the offensive end, defensively, you know, guarding KD and Book. You know, and so I thought the guys did a good job of following his lead, and we're going to need it again come Tuesday.
Ty, what about this matchup made you want to go with Marcus?
So what?
What about this matchup made you want to go with Marcus?
I just decided to do it.
Yeah. What you've talked to me so many times about how you guys have played, unfortunately, a lot of games without both Kawhi and PG, and that you know how to play in those games. But is it different in the playoffs when your opponent can study you over and over? And
it makes it tougher, but I think the biggest thing is, you know, acquiring 4 new guys, you know, during the trade deadline with only 21 games left. And so now when you acquire 4 new guys, we're not making excuses, but I'm answering your question. You know, it makes it harder because they still learning on the fly pretty much. And then when Kawhi and PG both don't play, it's kind of new, you know, it's unfamiliar territory for them guys. So, but I love, you know, every bit what they all have given us. And like I said, we got to come out and play better on Tuesday.
Ty, these playoff games are emotional, and you guys have been running off of emotion the last couple of games. In the immediate aftermath, what is the feeling in the locker room?
They feel good. Yeah, I mean, just, you know, you don't want to lose. It's disappointing. I'm mad. I'm more mad than probably they are, just for other reasons. But I love everything they give us. You know, our guys compete. They fight. They play hard every single night. You know, and so, you know, we felt like we let, you know, 2 get away. But I mean, it's a tough team. You know, they're a great team, great players, great coach Imani. You know, and so our margin for error is very slim. You know, and so we can't turn the ball over 8 times in 1 quarter. We can't give up offensive rebounds. You know, we can't, you know, do things like that, you know, especially when you're shorthanded, you know. So those things we just got to clean up, like I said. But I can't fault these guys in the locker room. They give me everything they got every single night, and we got to bring it again on Tuesday.
Coach, following up to that, you've spoken a lot about how difficult it is to keep up the players' confidence in the playoffs. How do you continue to do that following a loss like this afternoon?
just stay with it. Keep being encouraging. Don't pull guys out when they make a mistake, and when they, don't make shots. I think it's more so about, giving those guys confidence to play through it a little bit. And that's pretty much my formula. I think the communication, I think sticking with guys when they're going through tough times, and hopefully they can get out of it. But you want to always breed confidence in your players, and that's what we try to do. Not just me, but my whole coaching staff.
Thank you. Russ is coming in right now.
Russ, I guess Ty was talking about how, the small things in the margin for errors for you guys are kind of what kills you, but he can't fault the effort. I guess overall as a team, just what can you say about the effort you guys gave out tonight?
One thing about this team is just fighting, regardless of the obstacles that run they go on. We obviously know that's a good team on the other side, but one thing about this team, we never quit, and you got to keep fighting. Like I said, it's always first to four, and we got to go in there and get one.
You guys have been right there the last couple of games. What do you think it'll take to win Game 5?
Man, keep attacking the rim, keep attacking the basket, man, and hopefully, we get rewarded for doing that. But we'll see.
With Kawhi and Paul missing, has your leadership in the actual game changed at all? Especially since you've had to pick up more of the scoring load.
No, just you lead and communicate with guys differently based on ways to get them to respond. And throughout games, if I see something, I try to find ways to lead and not talk too much, but make points. Especially this time of year, like Coach said, it's important that our margin for error is very little, and we can't make small mistakes. So throughout the game, I try to find ways to keep communicating and try to stay on top of that.
Russ, just to follow up on that, with the margin for error so thin and with so many new guys since the trade deadline, in games like today and obviously the previous game here, what's the greatest challenge getting into a flow?
Like you mentioned, time. Sometimes this time you're not having time, and obviously with PG and Y down, changes the rotation, changes guys in and out of the lineup. But we make no excuses around here. Next man up mentality, and we just got to make sure we rally around each other, keep competing, and leave it on the floor. That's all you can do.
Hey, Russ. With Kawhi and PG out, what has been your mental approach, just knowing you're the Hall of Famer left on the court right now for this team?
Same mental approach, just the road change a little bit. Obviously be more aggressive, but not just that. Finding ways to keep defending at a high level. Just leaving everything I have on the floor like I do every single night, and I can live with the result.
Russ, you just talked about leaving everything left on the floor. You've had 37 and 30 the last two games. How much more can you do to try to keep this season alive, you personally?
Just finding ways out. When I watch film, always, I'm so hard on myself on figuring out ways to be better, not just being more efficient, taking care of the ball, defending better, not giving up on plays. I'm a guy that I really strive myself on doing everything at an elite level, and so when I watch tonight, maybe I could have did something better, get guys more shots, make the game easy for them so they don't have to work so hard with my abilities, and I'll find ways to do more as much as I can and try to get us a win.
Russ, I know a big part of this series has been trying to defend without fouling, and you see how the game is officiated when the Suns have the ball. But when you look at the fact that I'm pretty sure every 30-point game you've ever had, you've attempted at least one free throw.
For sure.
You didn't attempt one tonight. Like, when you see that,
I don't know if I attempted one last game.
how do you adjust to that?
I don't know. I don't know. I keep attacking, man. Stay positive. Don't get distracted. It's one thing. Just been in the league over time when fouls, they don't call it, just concentrating on making the shot. They call a foul, they call it, they don't. But, yeah, it's unfortunate, man, but come whenever we play again Tuesday, I'm right back at it, attacking the rim and finding ways to make the game easy for my teammates around me.
Russ, in the fourth quarter, when you're scoring and you're doing everything you can to keep the team in it, and KD hits something and Chris hits something, when you're in the timeouts or you're on the floor, do you allow yourself to think, man, what would it be like if PG and Kawhi were on the other side with me? It would feel like a more fair fight.
No, honestly, man, I just try to instill confidence in our guys, not to put our head down. You know, they're going to make some tough shots as they made throughout the series. And as part of leadership, you got to make sure you rally around the guys you have and find ways to instill confidence in them, you know, through the toughest moment, not through when things are just going well, but through tough moments as well. So, thank you. You ready, my man? That's right. You can dribble out if you want.
Where, you know, they're obviously desperate to get a win instead of to not fall down 3-1 and having to grind one out against a team that's obviously playing at a desperation level.
Yeah, you know, this team they going to stick around the whole game. You know, they never out of a game. Well, how well coached they are, how hard they play, and the penetrators and creators they got on their team, they're never out the game. So I think we did a solid job of staying poised, especially coming out the third. But we were just terrible to start the third, and and we was able to, you know, get some momentum back after that timeout. So I felt like, you know, it was a back and forth battle. They throw punches, we throw punches, and luckily we came out with the last one.
Curious looking at Chris and the way he played in the fourth quarter. Monty thought it was the first time in a while that all three of you were in go mode because it's kind of been trying to figure out who does what. So how big was that for not only you three to be in that mode, but then him to play the way he did in the fourth?
Yeah, it's definitely good when we all three aggressive and trying to make plays and trying to play fast-paced. And I think tonight we all did a solid job. And, you know, we're still growing. We're still trying to learn each other. We're still trying to figure out the best way for us to operate around each other. So, but it always helps when the shots go in, you know. So we was able to see made some big shots tonight. Book and made some big shots. So, you know, it was always good when the shots go in.
To that point about the shot making, Monty's talked a lot about how in the playoffs sometimes it just comes down to being able to get a bucket and stop your guy from getting one. How have you guys liked the balance as far as, you know, getting your shots and hitting shots like that third quarter, but also keeping the ball moving a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, you want to guard your yard, guard your guy, and then if you get an opportunity to be aggressive on the offensive side of the ball, don't hesitate. So, yeah, that's just the name of the game. They know your plays. They're taking away a lot of your sets. They're playing more physical, you know, so you got to fend for yourself out there sometimes. And it's going to go back between being the team game and maybe an individual game here and there. So I think we do a good job of having a balance between both. We got good ISO scores, and we played well as a team.
Kev, I think you've played 40 minutes in 13 straight playoff games now. Is it, you know, I think 44, 45 tonight. Is that something you could handle at this stage or this early in the playoffs, or is it you need to pace yourself? Or
How'd I look tonight?
All right.
Talk to him. Yeah, so, I mean, I felt great, you know, but I missed a lot of time this season. And, you know, so, yeah, I want to be out there every minute. I wish I could play 48 every game.
Quick follow. LeBron's always said when he plays a lot of minutes, it's actually training to play a lot of minutes in the playoffs. Like, this is when you want to play a lot.
Yeah.
Is that kind of how you are in the same way?
Oh, yeah, I mean, you want to be out there. You don't want to sit on the bench. I mean, everybody want to be out there in the action. So regardless, sometimes you might be tired. You just fight through it. But we got such a great training staff, coaching staff. They always monitor us. Monty always come to me and ask me if I wanted to come out. So, you know, they always on top of it. If I feel like I need a break, I'll take one.
Kevin, Monty mentioned the other day that you were getting frustrated by the physicality that the Clippers were trying to get you with, but how have you been using getting to the foul line to combat that a bit?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was frustrated from the fouling, but they doing a good job of sending the two at me in my spots. I see a small guy in the post, I want to go to work right there, and then I see somebody else coming over to help. So, yeah, that may be a little frustrating, but physicality, I mean, every time I step on the court, whether it's a pickup game or NBA game, somebody going to be physical with me because of my stature. So I've been playing through that since I was 8 years old, you know, so it ain't nothing different. But it's just trying to figure out what's the best way for us to be efficient. Sometimes I get a little frustrated when we don't play efficient basketball.
Kevin, Monty just mentioned that he's never heard as much criticism for an MVP player as much as Russ gets. I mean, what do you think about that, and have you spoken to him about that criticism?
About Russ? No, I don't. We don't. No, not about criticism. I mean, people going to always criticize when you're successful and you're doing your thing for this long. Somebody gonna always find something that they don't like about you. But Russ has been resilient his whole life. He come to work, don't say much, just come hoop. So when he's retired, people gonna really tell the truth about how they feel about his game. Right now, it's a fun thing to do is to make a joke out of Russ, but he the way he's been playing is since he got with the Clippers, showed everybody who he really is.
I feel like the only people to do that too is the people who don't know basketball.
Fact.
You know what I'm saying? And don't know what it's like to compete. I know for me, Russ is one of my closest friends. You know what I'm saying? And so people that do that and talk crazy probably wish they could be in that situation. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Chris, wanted just to ask about the shot that you took. Did you think the shot clock was about to expire on that?
Absolutely. I didn't know the ball hit the rim.
Okay. But that obviously the fourth quarter, the way you played, just speak to that and how you've done it before, but to be able to, after a game the other night, to be able to come back and have that kind of game.
Yeah, just playing this game for a long time. We learn in different ways. We seeing, I never played with this much talent. You know what I'm saying? Where people are doubling off of me. Like I said last game, I never shot that many open shots. So it's something that I'm getting used to, trying to figure out when to pick your spots, when to be aggressive, and we're figuring this thing out on the fly. I was just happy that a few of them fell tonight.
Last three, right there.
Kevin, I know you've been asked variations of this, but this would have been the sixth time that you and Kawhi would have played against each other in a playoff series, which is what you see kind of, historically legends are made of, back and forth and all that. From a competitive standpoint, how disappointing is it that, for the third time in a row now, you guys aren't able to have that head-to-head?
I'm more disappointed that Kawhi is injured again, more so than the matchup. Obviously, that's always fun playing against an all-time great, but I don't know Kawhi that well, but he seems like he loves the game, loves to play, just loves to hoop on this stage, especially around the playoffs. So I'm more disappointed for him that, he's not out there doing something that he loves. But it's also fun, getting a chance to compete against him. Well, not fun, but it's a challenge, getting a chance to compete against somebody like Kawhi. But I hope he gets back out there soon and him and PG get back healthy soon.
Why is it fun?
I mean, you see how he plays. I mean, you
Tough.
he's tough. You got to be ready every possession. So it's nerve wracking. If that's the word I could use.
I wanted to ask both of you. Monty was talking about how, and you guys are veterans, obviously, how in the playoffs when you have these very short turnaround periods, that maybe you won't run a lot. That there's some sports science people that are telling you how much you're running, how much you aren't. Are you guys in the back of your mind have been aware of that as well?
Man, we love to play basketball. You know what I mean? And what year is this for you, Kay?
16.
16. This is my 18th year. You don't get here just sitting on your ass. You know what I mean? You work. And so that's been the coolest thing about working out with Kay every day and with Book. We work. And so we do all the work during the season, during the summer, and all that for these moments. I think the analytics and all the optics of the game, the first thing everybody look at is the minutes. You know what I mean? You got to actually watch the game. There may be a 4-minute, 5-minute stretch where we just out there sort of occupying while Book going to work. You know what I mean? So it's not just everybody, how many minutes did they play? It's how was the minutes? And I think that's where we communicate and we talk and we be like, yo, how you feel? How you feel? And we pros, so we just try to figure it out.
Ramona, last one. Hey, Chris, I've seen you have fourth quarters like that in this building before. But when you're just looking at how this team is playing, you don't have to do that for this team, right? You said this is the most talent you've ever played with. When do you decide, okay, I need to score 12 points in the fourth quarter like that? And how's the game going?
I don't think you decide that. I think the way the third quarter started, I was pissed. We all was. We was on the bench sort of going at each other, but it's healthy, and just try to get us going. And I try to get myself going defensively. You know what I mean? And so the shots, they're going to come. we practice all day long. All day long, we practice for those situations. And so when they come, you know, you live with the results.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, Terrence, it seems like you guys have been able to come out and hit first in all the games that you guys played, but you guys have not been able to sustain it. What is it going to take for you guys to come out and hopefully jump on them and you guys sustain it throughout?
I think just limiting our fouling in certain areas. I think our fouling, our physicality has been able to bring them back in the game because it's being called.
Terrence, just from your perspective, where do you feel like in the second half that game changed where you guys weren't able to really make a run by the time the bench got in there?
I mean, I think their guys just did a good job of hitting, tough shots when they needed it to stop our runs. So, yeah, I think it was just that. CP did a great job of controlling the game. And, yeah, hats off to him.
Terrence, I think at one point, even late in the fourth, with you at the 4, you guys were like plus 15 or plus 16. What is it about you at the 4 that kind of unlocks different things for this team?
I guess, my ability to do multiple things on the floor, cut, catch and shoot, get in the paint, just keep the defense honest and in different aspects. Thank you.